Well, hello, welcome again to our reading of the Greek New Testament. We're reading Luke's Gospel. We're up to the last chapter, chapter 24. And this pericope is in Matthew, Mark and John. And it's to do with the resurrection of Jesus. Te de mia ton sabaton orthru batheos epitomnema elthon perusai ha hetoimasan aromata. And literally on the first, and it's feminine, so we have to supply hemera, day of the Sabbath. Now this is Greek has inclusive counting, so this is the first day after the Sabbath, so that's the Sunday. So on the first day we'd say after the Sabbath. Now this is either a genitive absolute supplying the verb to be, or more likely it's just a genitive of time during which. So the orthros is the early morning, and this is from bathos. It's a third declension adjective meaning deep. We get lots of words with bathy in them in English. So literally in the deep early morning, so when it was still the beginning of the early morn, Aelthon, they came, we're not told who they are yet, to the tomb. And then we just get a feminine participle here, so it's the they is referring to the women. They went to the tomb carrying the aromata, the spices, which were mentioned back in verse 56 of the previous chapter, ha hetoimasan from hetoimazdo, which they had prepared, with an aorist here, which they prepared. As usual, Greek word order it's a bit funny. It says, bringing that which they prepared, i.e. the spices. And so they put the relative pronoun before the antecedent, which is not what we do in English. Huron de ton lithon apokekulismenon apotumene meu. And they found the stone rolled away from apo and kulisdo. We get our word cylinder from this, by the way. So a stone rolled away from the tomb. Eis el thusai de uchuron to soma tu kurio Jesu. And again, lots of feminine participles here. So having entered in, feminine participle from eis erchomai, they did not find, aorist from heurisco, the body of the Lord Jesus. Kai egeneto en to aporesthai autas peritutu kai idu andres duo epestesan autais en estheti astraptuse. And it came to pass, and then we get the n plus the articular infinitive, so the subject's in the accusative. This is from aporio, to perplex, really. It's an interesting word. This is the passive here. So it's while they were in a state of perplexity. The aporio, the alpha is alpha privative. The porod here from poros, often used of a crossing or a sort of road forward. So aporio means you've basically got nowhere to go. You don't know where to go. You're in a state of confusion. And so we get this nice classical word aporio, to be in doubt, to be confused. So it came to pass that while they were in a state of confusion, perituto, regarding this, and this is very Septuagintal, to have this connecting chi here, and behold, two men, epistesan autais, so this is in the dative after the epi in epistemi. So they stood, perhaps near them or in front of them. It's dative after the epi in the verb here. So two men stood there, stood near them, or this would be with, or perhaps wearing. Estheti is from esthes. It's a third declension noun, connected with verbs of putting on. So it means clothing, and we get and it's a feminine noun, so we're getting a feminine participle here from astraptio. Sorry, no, from astrapto. I think it's not a contract verb. It simply means, it's often used for lightning in classical Greek, but it means sparkling or shining or almost radiating. Radiant perhaps would be good there, in radiant clothing. Phobone de genomenon auton kai klinuson ta prosopa esten gen epen prosautas ti seteti ton sota metaton necron. Genitive absolute here. So they, having become frightened, literally full of fear, we get n plus phobos, they having become full of fear. Now we get another feminine participle here from klino, hence we get the us here. So they were literally inclining their faces to the ground, so they were looking down at the ground, obviously somewhat both perhaps frightened and also embarrassed for women being in the company of men. So that's their genitive absolutes here. So the women are doing all this, and then apan, they, that is the men, said pros autas, to them, titseti totsonta metaton necron. Why do you seek the living, the one who is living among the dead? Ugesti hode ala egerthe, menestheti hos elale sen humin, eti on ente Galilea. He is not here, Allah, but ergerthe, he has been raised. This is the aorist passive from egero. Nestheti, remember how, or perhaps when, remember when, or remember how he said to you, eti on, participle from the verb to be, still being in Galilee, saying, ton huion tu anthropou, hotidei paradothenai es keras anthropon, hamatolon kai stratothenai kai ente trite hemera anastenai. So saying that, so legon hoti, saying that it is necessary for the Son of Man, paradothenai, from paradidomai, to be betrayed or handed over into the hands of men who are sinners, or you could take this hamatolos, normally a noun, but could take it as an adjective here. It's men who are sinners or sinful men. Kai starothenai, and to be crucified, aorist passive infinitive here, and on the third day anastenai, to rise. Kai emne thesan ton arematon autu, and they remembered, and verbs of remembering take a genitive, so they remembered his words. This is from Rema, we've seen this fairly commonly. So they remembered his words. Kai hupos strepsasai, apotu mene meu, apengelan, tauta panta tois hendeka, kai passin tois loipois. Another feminine participle here from hupostrepho. So having returned from the mene meu, notice here Luke, as a lot of Greek writers do, liked variation. So we had menema was the word for the tomb earlier in this chapter, and now it changes to that synonym menemeon. Greek likes variation. So they, having returned from the tomb, this is from Ap Angelo, they reported back all these things to the 11 and to all the rest, all the remaining ones. So to all the rest. Ezan de he Magdalene Maria kai Iona kai Maria he Jacobu kai Hailoipai sun autais. So, and they were, so this is that use of Amy at the beginning of the sentence, so he's making a list of who they were. So they were Mary, the Magdalene, so Mary Magdalene, and Joanna, we normally transliterate that, and Mary, the wife understood of James, and the remaining ones with them. Elegen pros tous apostolus tauta, and they began to speak these things to the apostles. Kai ephanesen enopion auton hose leros ta remata tauta. And these words, and we get neuter plural and we get a plural verb, so these words appeared before them, that is the other disciples, hose leros. Leros is a good classical word. It means nonsense, and hose is as though it were nonsense. It's also, by this stage, leros is used apparently as a medical term for delirium, so they appeared as though they were delirious, but I'm not sure you can press that too much, although of course Luke was reputedly a doctor. So these words appeared before them as though they were nonsense. Kai apistun autais, this is from apisteo, it takes a dative, and they disbelieved, that is the disciples disbelieved autais, them, that is the women. Hode Petros anastas edramen epitomnemeon kai parakupsas blepe to othonia mona kai apelthen prosiautu thalmasdon to gegonos. But Peter, having got up, edramen, he ran. This is the aorist from trecho, to run, and the aorist is edramon. It takes its aorist from a different root. So Peter, having got up, he ran to the tomb. Kai parakupsas, from parakupto, bending down, he saw the othonia. These are the linen clothing that you used to bind up the dead body, so the linen clothes. Now the Mona is grammatically agreeing with this, but it has the sense of that was all he saw. He saw only the linen clothes, but it's literally the linen clothes, Mona, alone by themselves. Kai apelthen, and he departed. Now the prosiauton, I think, goes with the thalmasdon here, and being amazed in himself, so perhaps wondering to himself, to gegonos, this is a neuter participle here from ginomai, the thing which had taken place. And that is the first section of chapter 24.